Marie was 76 when her husband died, leaving her with bills she couldn't pay and a house that felt too quiet. But what she showed me on her kitchen windowsill changed everything I thought I knew about prayer. It was a simple mason jar with a label that read, "God's Inbox." And the 3 words she whispered over it each morning became the secret that saved her sanity. I met Marie last spring, 3 months after she buried her husband of 54 years. This woman who had been everyone's rock, raising 5 children, caring for aging parents, volunteering at church for decades, sat at her kitchen table surrounded by medical bills and insurance forms and said something that broke my heart. "I've been strong for everyone my whole life. I don't know how to be weak." Maybe that's you right now. Maybe you're the one everyone calls when they need strength, but secretly you're wondering who's going to catch you when you fall. Maybe you wake up at 3 a.m. with that familiar weight on your chest, worries about your health, your children, your finances, and you don't know how much longer you can carry it all. If that's you, then this isn't coincidence. You're here because your soul is crying out for something the world can't give you: real rest. Not the temporary relief that comes from solving one problem only to have 3 more appear, but the deep, lasting peace that holds you steady when everything else is shaking. But then she showed me something that revolutionized how I understand morning prayer. On her windowsill sat a mason jar with a handwritten label, "God's Inbox." Every morning, she'd write her deepest fears on sticky notes. "Can't pay rent. Miss him so much I can't breathe. What if I get sick?" And drop them in that jar. Then she'd look up and whisper, "Lord, if it's in there, I promise not to pick it back up today." That simple act became her lifeline. Because here's what Marie discovered: you don't have to have faith strong enough to move mountains. You just need honest faith enough to move your burdens from your shoulders to His hand. Psalm chapter 55, verse 22 isn't just beautiful poetry, it's a revolutionary promise. "Cast your cares on the Lord, and He will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken." But what does casting your cares actually look like when everything feels like it's falling apart? This morning, before we go any deeper, place your hand over your heart. Feel that faithful rhythm that's kept time through decades of joys and sorrows. Now whisper these words with me: "Lord, this is bigger than me. You take it." That's not weakness. That's wisdom. And it's the first step toward discovering something you may have forgotten. You were designed for peace, not panic. Marie's jar worked because it represented something profound that Scripture teaches us, but we often forget. God never intended for you to be the general manager of the universe. When Jesus said in Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." He wasn't speaking metaphorically, he was making a practical offer. Picture an old-fashioned yoke connecting 2 oxen heavy, impossible for one animal alone. Jesus is saying, stop trying to pull this weight by yourself. Let me be the stronger ox. We'll carry it together. But here's the key. Walking in sync requires letting him set the pace. Tom learned this while caring for his wife through her final illness. For months, he woke up already exhausted, mentally rehearsing all the medical appointments, insurance calls, and decisions he had to make. Then his pastor suggested something simple. Start each day with 3 breaths and 3 truths. Breath 1, Father, you are here. Breath 2, Jesus, you are strong. Breath 3, Spirit, you are peace. Tom typed Philippians chapter 4 verse 6 to his bathroom mirror. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Every morning, he'd read it aloud while shaving. The tasks didn't shrink, he told me, but the room felt different, like I wasn't managing it all alone anymore. This is what Scripture means when it says in 2 Chronicles chapter 20 verse 15, the battle is not yours, but God's. It's not inviting passivity, it's inviting partnership. You still show up, you still make the phone calls and take the medicine and have the difficult conversations, but you do it from a place of rest instead of striving, dependence instead of self-reliance. The enemy wants you to believe that surrender equals defeat. But biblical surrender is the opposite. It's stepping into the strength you were never meant to generate on your own. When David wrote in Psalm chapter 23 verse 1, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want," he wasn't denying his needs, he was declaring his source. So right now, whatever feels too heavy to carry, let's practice what Marie learned. Name it out loud, if you can. Then take a deep breath and say, Lord, this belongs to you. I receive your strength for this moment. That's not giving up, that's giving over. And there's a world of difference between the two. Now here's where the rubber meets the road. How do you live from this place of surrender when your phone rings with bad news? When you're standing in the grocery store and can't remember if you took your medication? When the loneliness hits so hard you can barely breathe? That's when surrender stops being a Sunday morning concept and becomes a Monday through Saturday lifeline. Let me share something practical that changed everything for Dorothy, a widow in her 80s who felt like she was drowning in the details of living alone. She started what she called anchor moments, simple rituals throughout the day that reminded her of who she was and who was with her. Every morning with her coffee, she'd read one pour aloud, the same pour for a whole week until it became part of her. When the mailman came, she'd whisper, "Thank you for this provision," over every piece of mail, even the bills. Before bed, she'd touch her pillow and say, "Lord, I remain in your care tonight." These weren't magic formulas. They were invitations for God to meet her in the ordinary moments. Isaiah chapter 26 verse 3 became her life verse. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. Perfect peace doesn't mean perfect circumstances. It means a perfect keeper watching over imperfect people in an imperfect world. Here's what I want you to try this week. Keep what I call a notice journal. Not complicated, just a small notebook or even your phone. Each day, write down one specific way God showed up. Not the big miracles, the small mercies, the parking spot when your hip ached, the friend who called at just the right time, the unexpected moment of joy that surprised you. You're training your heart to recognize God's faithfulness in real time, so when the storms come, and they will come, you'll have evidence that He's been with you all along. As the psalmist wrote in Psalm chapter 77, verse 11, I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember your miracles of long ago. But remember, God's presence isn't dependent on your performance. You don't have to pray perfectly, trust completely, or understand fully. You just have to show up honestly. The Father in Mark chapter 9 verse 24 got it right. I believe, help my unbelief. Jesus didn't reject his honesty. He honored it with a miracle. Your honesty about your struggles isn't a barrier to God's grace, it's the doorway. What I'm about to tell you might be the most important thing you hear today. The peace you've been searching for isn't something you achieve, it's something you receive. It's not a reward for getting your spiritual life together. It's a gift that's been waiting for you all along. Let me paint you a picture of what your life could look like 6 months from now. You wake up not to that familiar knot of dread, but to possibility. The same circumstances might be there, but something fundamental has shifted inside you. You've learned the secret that Marie discovered, that Tom practiced, that Dorothy lived. You can rest even when nothing is resolved. This is what Jesus meant in John chapter 14, verse 27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. The world's peace depends on circumstances. God's peace transcends them. I think of Eleanor, now 83, who tells me that her best days aren't behind her, they're happening now. Not because her arthritis is gone, or her finances are secure, or her children call more often, but because she's learned to live from rest instead of striving, from trust instead of worry, from God's strength instead of her own. Every morning she lights a small candle and speaks this blessing over her day. Lord, you have been faithful for 8 decades. I trust you with whatever this day brings. That's not naive optimism, that's seasoned wisdom choosing hope over fear. Friend, whatever has brought you to this moment, whether it's pain or promise, loss or longing, I want you to know this. God is not finished writing your story. Your most beautiful chapters aren't in the past. They're being written right now, in this very moment when you choose to trust Him with what you cannot control. The rest you've been longing for. The peace your soul has been crying out for. It's not someday, somewhere else. It's as close as your next breath, as available as your whispered prayer, as real as the God who promises in Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So here's your invitation. Stop carrying what you were never meant to carry. Stop trying to be strong enough and start being surrendered enough. Stop living for tomorrow's security and start resting in today's grace. Place your hand over your heart one more time. Feel that rhythm of faithfulness. Now breathe this prayer with me. Lord, I give you permission to be God in my life. I rest in your love. I trust in your plan. And I choose your peace over my panic. Your transformation begins now, not when you get stronger, but when you get honest. Not when you figure it all out, but when you finally let go and let God. That mason jar piece Marie found, it's waiting for you too. Your anchor moments, they're ready to begin today. The rest that passes understanding, it's yours for the receiving. Step into it, friend. Your soul has been waiting long enough.